At 5:50 on the western shore of Lugu Lake, a woman in her 60s lights the hearth fire in the main room of a log house and begins making breakfast for 11 people. The house belongs to her. It has always belonged to the women in her line. The fire catches on the third attempt, the way it always does in the cold months, and she does not react to this. She has been lighting this fire for 40 years. She knows its habits. At 7:30 in the village of Lugu, a man crosses the lake in a wooden boat and walks up the path to a house where a woman is waiting. He will not sleep there. He will be back across the water before the light goes. The lake is still at this hour. The boat leaves a clean line behind it that closes over itself and disappears. By 9 in the hills above the lake, a boy of about 10 helps his uncle drive 3 pigs down a path toward a lower field. His father lives in another household on the other side of the water. The boy knows where his father lives. He does not live there. This is not a wound. It is a fact. The same as the lake is a fact. The same as the uncle walking beside him is a fact. Present, reliable. The shape his life has always had. This is Lugu Lake. A body of water 2,690 meters above sea level in the mountains on the border of Yunnan and Sichuan provinces, southwest China. Around its shores live approximately 40,000 Mosuo people. They did not invent marriage. They built something else instead. What follows is daily life in a society that answered the oldest questions differently, and the question of whether those answers survive the road that arrived 30 years ago. The outside world found the Mosuo late and named them quickly. The Kingdom of Women. The last matriarchy. The tribe without fathers. Each name carried more romance than precision. The Mosuo are not a kingdom, and they are not without fathers. They are a people whose household is organized around the mother's line, whose property passes through daughters, not sons, and whose partnerships between men and women do not require, and historically have not involved, a shared home, a shared economy, or a legal bond. These are not absences. They are the outcomes of a different set of founding decisions about what a family is for and what holds it together. The Chinese state classifies them as a branch of the Naxi ethnic minority. The Mosuo regard themselves as distinct. The distinction matters to them and has been a source of friction with provincial authorities who have at various points attempted to bring Mosuo family arrangements into conformity with national marriage law. The law assumes a husband, a wife, a shared address. The Mosuo household assumes a grandmother, a hearth, and a line that runs through women. The two assumptions do not easily translate into each other. The attempts have had partial success. The practice continues. The center of Mosuo life is the main house, the Zumufang, the grandmother's room. It is the largest room in any Mosuo household, with the hearth at its center. The hearth has 3 stones, one for the ancestors, one for the gods, one for the living. The fire is not allowed to go out. The household is built around the eldest woman. She manages the land, the animals, the money, and the decisions. Her brothers and sisters, her daughters and sons, and her daughters' children all live in the same compound. The family line is her line. Her name passes to her daughter's children. Her sons' children belong to their mother's households. A Mosuo man lives his whole life in his mother's house. He works the fields and herds the animals and sits at the hearth that belongs to his mother's line. When he dies, he is buried with his mother's people. The household he grew up in is the household he dies in. He does not experience this as a life spent waiting for something else. This is the life. The hearth he tends is the hearth that made him. This is not experienced as a restriction. It is experienced as the shape of a family. A senior Mosuo woman in her 70s managing a household of 12 is not performing a role. She is holding a structure that has organized labor, property, and identity on these shores for as long as the Mosuo oral record goes back. Her authority is practical before it is cultural. She knows where the money is, where the land boundaries run, which animals are ready for market, and which of her nephews has been unreliable since last spring. She carries this knowledge the way the hearthstones carry heat, steadily, without announcement, because that is what they are for. The decisions come from the hearthroom. Disputes within the household are settled by the grandmother. Disputes between households go to the village council, which is also predominantly female in its senior membership. The custom the outside world finds most remarkable, the Mosuo themselves have a plain name for. Oxia, walking, a man and a woman form a partnership. They do not move in together. The man visits the woman at night and returns to his mother's house before morning, or stays and leaves early. If the partnership produces children, the children are raised in the mother's house by the mother, her brothers, her sisters. The man continues to live in his own mother's house and to help raise his sister's children there. The arrangement is neither secret nor shameful. A woman's Axia partner may be known to the whole village. A long partnership may last decades. It may end when either party chooses. It requires no ceremony to begin and no legal process to end. There is no property to divide because there was no shared property. There are no custody arrangements to negotiate because the children's home was never in question. What the walking arrangement produces is a child who belongs entirely and securely to one household. The mother's line does not depend on a husband's continued presence. If a partnership ends, the household does not fracture. The grandmother is still at the hearth, the uncles are still in the compound, the land still belongs to the mother's line. In a Mosuo household, a child cannot be abandoned by a father's departure because the father was never the architecture the house was built on. The Western framing of this arrangement has oscillated between fascination and misreading. Early outside accounts described the Mosuo as sexually liberated or promiscuous. Later accounts overcorrected into romanticization, the peaceful matriarchy, the gentle people without jealousy. Neither account was reported from inside the grandmother's room. Inside the grandmother's room, there are arguments about money. There are difficult uncles. There are partnerships that end badly. There is an aunt who has not spoken to her sister in 2 years over a land boundary. The Mosuo are not a thought experiment. They are people who have built a social structure that works for the conditions of their lives and who live inside it with the full complexity of any family. A Mosuo child grows up with a specific constellation of adults. The mother is the primary parent, the grandmother is the authority. The uncles, the mother's brothers, are the male figures of daily life. An uncle takes a nephew to the fields, teaches him to handle animals, sits with him at the hearth, and takes responsibility for his upbringing in the way a father does in other family structures. The biological father exists and is not hidden. Children know their fathers. They visit, In some cases, they are close. But the father does not hold authority over the child's household because it is not his household. He is a welcome presence. He is not the foundation. A Mosuo woman describing her childhood in a household of 3 generations does not describe the absence of a father as an absence. She describes the presence of a grandmother, 2 uncles, a mother, 3 aunts, and 6 cousins as the structure of her life. The question of what is missing only arises when someone from outside asks it. Before the question is asked, it does not exist. This is worth sitting with, that the shape of a family only appears incomplete when measured against a different shape. Boys raised in Mosuo households grow into men who live in Mosuo households. The model they inherit is the uncle, the man who works for the house he was born into and forms partnerships outside it. This is not a diminished role. It is the role the structure requires. A household without reliable uncles does not function. The grandmother knows which of her sons she can count on. She has been watching them since they were born. She has had time to form accurate opinions. The road reached Lugu Lake in the 1990s. Before it came, the lake and its villages were accessible only by a track that took days to travel from the nearest town. The relative isolation had preserved the Mosuo's social arrangements not through any protective intention, but through simple distance. Distance had been doing the work that no law and no declaration had needed to do. Then, the distance closed. The road brought tourists. By the 2000s, Lugu Lake had become a significant destination on the Yunnan travel circuit. The Kingdom of Women was on the itinerary. Guest houses opened, boat rides were offered, cultural performances were staged. A version of the Mosuo, simplified, picturesque, safe for an afternoon's visit, was offered at the lakeshore. And it was purchased. The money that came with tourism entered Mosuo households and began to change what the household was organized around. A guest house is a business. A business has different incentive structures from a farming compound. Young Mosuo women who ran guest houses were earning more than their grandmothers had earned from farming and animals. Young Mosuo men who left for cities came back with money from outside the household structure. The money was welcome. The money also did not know where to sit in a room organized around a grandmother's authority. The pressure on the walking marriage custom came from several directions at once. The Chinese government's periodic campaigns to register Mosuo partnerships under marriage law pushed from outside. Tourism's creation of a market for the Mosuo identity as a product created a version of the culture, performed, simplified, sold, that existed alongside the lived version and was easier to photograph. And the young people who had grown up at the intersection of both versions were forming their own views, quietly, in the way young people always do. A younger Mosuo woman in her late 20s may have grown up in a traditional grandmother's household, run a guest house her mother controls, have an Axia partner in the next village, and also have a profile on a national dating app where she describes herself in terms that assume the framework of conventional marriage. These facts sit together without resolving into each other. She has not chosen between them yet. She may not need to. She may find, in 10 years, that the choice was made without her noticing. The grandmother's fire is still burning. The grandmother has opinions about the dating app. The grandmother's opinions are still the ones that carry weight in the hearthroom. For now. Anthropologists who have studied Mosuo communities over the past 3 decades note a measurable shift in younger generations toward conventional cohabiting partnerships and a decline in the strict matrilineal household structure. In some households, property has begun passing to sons as well as daughters. In some villages, men have begun building separate homes rather than living in their mother's compounds for life. The structure is not collapsing. It is bending. Whether bending leads to breaking or to a new shape that holds is not yet clear. The shifts are not uniform. In more remote villages around the lake, the traditional structure holds more firmly. In the tourist-facing settlements along the main road, it holds less. Geography is still doing some of the work it always did. The question is how much longer geography can afford to do it, now that the road keeps getting shorter. On a morning in late October, the lake sits flat under a sky the color of old iron. The walnut trees on the eastern shore have gone yellow. A woman at the hearth in a house in Liege is adding wood to the fire. Her mother is sleeping in the room beside her. Her daughter is feeding the pigs in the yard. 3 generations under one roof, all of them her line. She is not thinking about anthropology. She is thinking about the fire and whether there is enough wood stacked for the week, and what her eldest nephew said last night that she is not sure she believes. The nephew is 22 and has been spending time in Lijiang and comes back each visit with new opinions that sit uneasily in the hearthroom. She has not said anything yet. She is watching. The grandmother's room runs on patience as much as authority. You watch before you speak. You speak once, and you mean it. Her Axia partner crossed the lake 2 evenings ago. He will come again when he comes. She does not track the interval. The household does not depend on the interval. This is the design. The household is not waiting for him. The household is complete without him present, the same way it was complete the evening before he came, and will be complete the morning after he leaves. His absence is not a gap. It is simply the ordinary condition of a structure that was never built around his presence. In the afternoon, a tourist boat crosses the lake toward the village. The woman's niece, who is 24 and runs the family's guest house, goes down to meet it. She has changed into the Mosuo embroidered jacket that she does not wear for any other occasion. She speaks Mandarin to the visitors. She answers their questions about the walking marriage. She has answered these questions several hundred times, the same questions, in roughly the same order, with the same note of cautious wonder in the asking. She answers them accurately and with patience, and without telling the visitors what she actually thinks of the questions, which she keeps to herself, which is its own kind of skill. What she thinks is her own business. The jacket and the answers are the product. The rest of her is not for sale. By evening, the visitors have left. The niece changes back into her ordinary clothes. The embroidered jacket goes back on its hook. The family eats around the hearth. The food is simple, and there is enough of it, which is the grandmother's standard for a meal and has always been sufficient. The grandmother sits closest to the fire. She has the most to say and says it without being asked. This is the part that does not make it into the tourist itinerary. Not the custom described and photographed at the lakeshore, but the grandmother's voice filling the room, the specific weight of her opinions on the firewood, and the nephew and the price the niece charged for the boat ride today, which was too low. The grandmother has views on pricing. She has views on the nephew, on the firewood, on the quality of this year's harvest compared to last year's, on a cousin's Axia partner who she has never trusted and trusts less now. She has views on everything. She has earned the views, and she does not hold them quietly. This is what 40 years of managing a household produces. Not serenity. Authority. Somewhere in the mountains above Lugu Lake, a road is being widened. The work crews have been on it since spring. When it is finished, the drive from the nearest city will be shorter by 2 hours. 2 hours is not an abstraction. 2 hours is another wave of visitors, another season of guest house bookings, another increment of pressure on the question of what the Mosuo keep, and what. Slowly, without announcement, they set down. The setting down does not happen all at once. It happens the way the walnut trees change color, gradually, then completely, and by the time you notice, it has already been happening for a while. The Mosuo built a different answer to the oldest questions: who belongs to whom, who holds the land, who raises the child, who sits at the center of the household and does not move. The answer took centuries to build. It is encoded in the 3 stones of the hearth, in the property records that run through women's names, in the uncles who live and die in the houses they were born in the children who know exactly where they belong, because the question was settled before they arrived. It is encoded in the grandmother's voice at dinner, in the embroidered jacket on its hook, in the boat that crosses the lake before morning, and the one that crosses it in the afternoon carrying strangers with cameras. All of it is the answer, including the parts that are changing. The answer is 40,000 people on a mountain lake and a fire that is not allowed to go out. Whether the answer survives the widened road is a question the grandmother at the hearth is already living inside. She tends the fire. She manages the household. She sits in the room that has her name on it, and her mother's name before that, and her grandmother's name before that. She has watched things arrive at this lake before: new tools, new prices, new ideas in the mouths of young people returning from cities, and she has watched the household absorb some of them and quietly refuse others. She has opinions about which is which. She has not finished forming all of them. She has not stopped tending the fire while she waits to see. She will not stop. The fire does not wait either. It requires the same attention it has always required. Steady, unromantic. Daily, the attention is the answer. It has always been the answer.